and the Todd Family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll have as much success tonight as I did last night. Last night, it was almost midnight Eastern time before I went live, and I got a ton of live feedback in the comment section, and I got a lot of live people that were watching. And that's kind of late to go live, and it wasn't planned, but it happened. But when you go late that time of the night, you get other countries tuned in because it's the middle of the day in some places. Hey there, Austin. Glad to have you here. But if you jump on here live tonight, do what Austin just did and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure you give the video a like, a thumbs up if you have not yet subscribed. Please do so. It helps the channel out tremendously and takes about 2 seconds. And I noticed that I'm looking sexy as always. As you can tell by the title of the video, tonight we're just going to talk sports. I'm not focusing on one certain sport. It's going fantastic, Austin. Thank you for asking. We're going to talk some NASCAR. We're going to talk some college football. We're going to talk some NFL, but I wanted to start out in the world of baseball. The Atlanta Braves, who have done absolutely nothing in the offseason, finally did something today by signing Jurickson Profar. Now, Jurickson Profar has been in the league for quite a while, but he's really only ever been an average hitter until the last couple of years, especially last year. He might have been the Padres' most consistent hitter all year long. He really didn't have a long dry spell like most baseball players do because the season's so long. He pretty much hit consistently all year long. He will be the Braves' everyday left fielder. And then when they finally get Acuna Jr. back from his injury from last year, they'll have Jurickson Profar in left, Michael Harris in center, and Ronald Acuna Jr. in right. And yes, Austin, I did watch TNA highlights. I try to watch them on a regular basis. Of the Braves finally make a move, and I got a feeling that Spencer Strider will be back probably by the month of May. He's throwing the ball already, so I don't think he'll be out maybe a month, and he'll be back. But on to the world of NASCAR. Everybody knows that I'm a huge NASCAR fan. The NASCAR preseason race that they call the Clash is coming up not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, and then 2 weeks after that is the Daytona 500. But I'm kind of worried, speaking of Daytona, that NASCAR has turned the Daytona 500 into just another race, which ain't bad because if you're a race fan like myself, you're not going to stop watching it. But it used to be that, it was called the Great American Race for a reason, and you treated it as such, and it got talked about as such. And now, just by, hearing them talk about it and seeing highlights of it, and if you've been watching the Fox playoffs for the NFL, they showed a Daytona 500 commercial that I saw not this past weekend, but the one before that. And it was a good commercial, but they didn't really talk about the Daytona 500. They didn't really talk about, who won last year, nothing. It was just a picture of Logano and a couple other drivers, and then it said Daytona 500. You could have showed that same video and, changed the name of the race to the Firecracker 400, and nobody would have knew. It's just treated now like another race. But I brought NASCAR up because in 6 days, this upcoming Wednesday, NASCAR has its first ever 24-hour NASCAR channel. I've been watching NASCAR since 1995, Austin. I was 11 years old, and my mother was dating my soon-to-be stepdad, and my stepdad's father was a huge NASCAR fan. He did not miss a race. Hey there, Slash. Hey there, Erickson. And hey there, Muzu. And Erickson, I don't honestly have a lot of free time to know what I would like to do because between being a referee for wrestling and working in radio part time for high school athletics and working a full time job and having three small kids and staying active in our church, I don't really have a lot of extra time. But if I did, most of my extra time would be something to do with sports, whether it's watching or reading or riding, anything. I just love sports, have my whole life. And yes, Slash, I used to love monster truck racing. I remember one time, I guess I was about 12. My stepdad's brother got us tickets to monster trucks. They came to Atlanta, and we went out there on a Saturday morning, and it got rained out until I think Monday. And my stepdad's brother said, "Well, I got to work on Monday, and y'all got school, so we can't come back." So I didn't get to go, but I wanted so bad to see it live. But Austin, here it comes on Fox, but I'm sure it's not Fox 11 because I'm not in the same market you are, but it does come on Fox. But anyway, my stepdad's father was a huge NASCAR fan, and I guess you call her my step grandmother, is my stepdad's mother. She cooked dinner every Sunday, and she cooked enough food for 100 people. So we would go over there sometimes and eat lunch with them. And we walked in one Sunday, and my stepdad's father was watching NASCAR. And of course, I'm there visiting, so I can't say, turn this crap off. You got to sit down and watch it because it's on. And I sat down and watched it while we ate, and I just fell in love with it. And 30 years later, I'm still loving it. But NASCAR starting their first ever 24-hour television channel coming up on Wednesday. Hey there, Gator fan. Glad to have you here. I have not seen you in the comment section since football season ended. So glad you are back. I'm fixing to talk college football coming up here in a few minutes. But this NASCAR channel is going to be on Tubi. So I think it's great because almost everybody has Tubi this day and time, because if you've got a smart TV, it comes with Tubi. So it's on there. Even if you don't watch it, it's there. But everybody watches it to a certain extent because any kind of TV channel or TV show that you like is on Tubi. Yes, Gator fan, I am a Clemson fan. Also, I've never heard of it. GL. CW, I don't believe. Maybe I have, but I don't think I have. But we won't really know what all they're going to show until the channel starts. But they do say that they're not going to have live racing, which I think, before it's all said and done, that'll change, and they will. But since it's free, they should carry it because you can't beat free TV. But they say they are going to carry the races this year. They just won't be live. They'll be tape delayed and shown, in the future, whether that's the next week or the next month, whatever. But they are going to carry classic races, and they're going to carry the Hall of Fame ceremony, and they're going to carry radioactive and stuff like that. And they're also going to have daily TV shows on there. And I think it's great for NASCAR because it can grow the sport, because if you turn Tubi on and you're just flipping through channels and you see NASCAR, you might stop on there just because you're bored and something catches your attention and you stop and you watch it. So I'm excited about it. Now I know that anytime I can't find anything on TV, I can just turn it on Tubi and turn it on NASCAR. Anything NASCAR shows catches my attention. And Austin, I'm right there with you. I like free TV. I never have understood why all these people, and I can say this because the only one that we have is Peacock. We've had Peacock for a year now, but all these people complain about not wanting cable or not wanting satellite, so they get Netflix and they get Peacock and they get Paramount and they get Hulu and they get Amazon. And by the time you get all those, you're paying just as much as you'd pay for your cable or satellite package. You might as well just stick with that. But the only one that we have is Peacock, and the only one that I'll have going forward is Peacock because I have seen some of the TV listings for the other streaming services, and there's just not enough on there for me to even think about wanting to buy any of them. But if you have not heard, speaking of college football for Gator fans, since he's here now, they are wanting to change the transfer portal window from 2 windows to only 1 window. Jalen, glad you're here, man, and everything is absolutely fantastic. Austin, actually, no, uh, I got Peacock because they show Andy Griffith, and I love Andy Griffith, but they also show some racing stuff on there. It used to show a lot of IndyCar stuff. They may not now since IndyCar's going over to Fox, but it used to show IndyCar stuff, plus NASCAR stuff, plus motocross stuff. And they carry that TV show called Life PD, which I like that TV show. So there's a lot of things on Peacock that I enjoy. Hey there, Slash. Thanks for commenting. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But if they're going to change the transfer portal, they're going to have somebody do it besides the NCAA because if you have not paid attention, every time the NCAA goes to court, they lose. They've never won a case, to my knowledge, at least in my lifetime that I can recall. So if they're the ones trying to change it, they'll lose. But it's not them, it's other people wanting to change it because right now you have the portal that opens like right after the regular season ends. And that's bad because here you are with teams getting ready to go to bowls or playoffs, and then they got to worry about players transferring. So they're trying to get rid of that one and just have one transfer portal window that'll probably be open right after the spring games, and that'll be your 10 to 14 days that you can transfer. And Austin, I have never watched that show, so I can't say whether I do or I don't. But Cade McNamara and Jacoby Criswell, who are both transfer portal quarterbacks, both transferred to East Tennessee State. Now, of course, Cade McNamara started out at Michigan, and then he went to Iowa, and now he's going to East Tennessee State to join the Buccaneers and Will Healy's coaching staff. Now, Will Healy used to be the head coach at Charlotte, and they were high on him for about 3 years, and then it just fell apart. Now he's trying to start over again with East Tennessee State. But Jacoby Criswell started out at North Carolina, transferred to Arkansas for a year, went back to North Carolina, and now he's going to East Tennessee State. Now they've got 7 quarterbacks on their roster. Of course, I'm sure 1 or 2 maybe will either transfer or redshirt for sure, definitely. But it's kind of funny that you've got 2 Power 4 quarterbacks that both decided to go to East Tennessee State. Now, Austin, Law and Order is something I just cannot get into. I have never been able to get into our TV shows that each episode carries on to the next. It don't get my attention. It's too drug out for me. But it's kind of strange to see that, but now you kind of wonder, what if one quarterback is definitely by far and away, the better playing of the 2? Will the other one transfer because that McNamara and Criswell aren't going to ETSU, sit on the bench. But at the same time, what if they play about the same? Or what if the coach doesn't come to them and say, hey, Cade or hey, Jacoby, you're our starter? There's a chance that after the spring game, they both transfer. But as of right now, they're both going to East Tennessee State. And yes, Austin, I love Sanford and Son. It's not my favorite comedy, but I love it. It's definitely in my top 5. Matter of fact, right after I started this here YouTube channel, I did a top 10 countdown on my all-time top 10 favorite comedies. And Sanford and Son was on the list. I don't remember exactly where it was listed at, but it was definitely on the list. It may have been top 5, but I know for sure it was in the top 10. But my all-time favorite comedy was, and always will be Family matters. But Tom Allen left Penn State to go be the new defensive coordinator at Clemson. Now, the rumor is that he left because James Franklin decided to put him up in the booth, and he didn't like that. And as soon as that happened, Tom Allen pretty much said that when the season's over, if I get a chance to leave, I'm gone. But it makes you wonder, is James Franklin hard to work with? Because if you look at their track record, every single year they're either changing offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator or both. And there's no way that he's losing these coaches this fast every year unless he's hard to work with. And he probably is because he looks like he'd be an absolute perfectionist. And before their playoff game against Notre Dame, he went on this complete, total tangent about how Notre Dame needs to join a conference. But the only problem with that was he said that it would make everything fair. But the reality of it is it wouldn't make everything fair. Because even if Notre Dame does join a conference, you've still got the Big Ten and the Big 12 that play 9 conference games per season. And you've got the ACC and the SEC that only play 8 conference games per season. So even if Notre Dame joined the conference, you still wouldn't be 100% fair because you've got some conferences playing more conference games. So it still wouldn't make it all fair. But James Franklin's always trying to point the finger at somebody else and complain about somebody else. And Austin SWA is supposed to be Saturday, so hopefully I'll be there on Saturday. But if you have not seen the numbers yet for the national championship game Monday night, as far as TV viewers go, they averaged 22 million. But their peak was from 8:30 to 8:45 Eastern Time when they had 26.1 million. Hey there, Keveron. Glad to have you here. And Slash, I used to watch UFC when it first started, but it got to where when the NFL started, outlawing all these bad hits by defensive players, the UFC followed suit and made it to where you couldn't knee him in the head, you couldn't elbow him in the head, and all this stuff become illegal. And I watched too many fights where the two guys just go on the ground and roll around and hold each other. And just seeing 2 men in underwear holding each other just don't do it for me. But a long time ago, I was a huge UFC fan. So the peak was 26.1 million, but the average was 22 million, down from last year's national championship game, which averaged right at 28 million. But it was still, even though it was down from last year's numbers, it was still the most watched non-NFL sporting event over the past year. And when I read stuff like that, it still amazes me at the stupidity of some football fans that still want to say the NFL is rigged, which, by the way, is 100% unequivocally false. But I know people say it because they hate the Chiefs, just like back when the Patriots dominated. They hated the Patriots, but now that they suck, nobody cares anymore. But everybody's tired of seeing the Chiefs dominate, so their fallback is, well, it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged. The NFL continues to grow their ratings every year. Every year when the TV numbers come out, you say, man, it can't get any more popular. And the next year comes along, and guess what happens? It gets more popular. The big game, because we're not supposed to use the S and the B word, the big game has gotten so popular that you could take the Raiders and the Saints, who were 2 of the worst teams in the league this year, and put them in a big game, and 50 million people would have watched the game. It doesn't matter who's in it, people watch it. The NFL doesn't care who wins and loses. They have no dog in the fight. They don't make money on who wins and who loses. They make money on TV numbers. And if people are going to watch, no matter who plays, they don't care who plays. And if you don't keep up with the money they make in sponsorships, they make millions and millions of dollars on sponsorships. And there ain't no clause in the sponsor contract that says, well, if so and so gets there, we're going to pay you more. No. If Pepsi pays $10 million for an ad, they pay $10 million for an ad, whether the Chiefs play, or the Bills play, or the Commanders play, or the Raiders play. It's the same amount of money. It just amazes me at the stupidity of some people because they can't get what they want, and the team they hate so bad keeps winning, so they got to say, "Oh, it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged." Um, and no, Austin, I did not wrestle in school. I wanted to, but when I was in school, where I went to school at, education actually was very important, and I had no desire to try to do good enough to play sports. But also, when I was in high school, I was kind of a late bloomer. So when I was in high school, I only weighed a buck 50. I was very tiny, and the school that I went to, we didn't have high school wrestling. When I was in school, they have it now, but they didn't have it when I was in school. But we had football and baseball and basketball and all that. And I wanted to play football so bad, but I was a buck 50 maybe. So I knew that even if my grades got high enough, I was too small. I was going to get absolutely destroyed. But thanks to all those who commented tonight and gave the video a thumbs up. Hopefully, if you have not yet subscribed, you'll do so. I'd greatly, greatly appreciate it. But let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I just got hired at the soccer factory, and man, I'm having a ball. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.